On October 13th, 1972, Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 vanished from the sky. It was a chartered flight, carrying 45 souls, a rugby team, their friends, and their family from Montevideo, Uruguay, to Santiago, Chile. As they flew over the treacherous spine of the Andes Mountains, a wall of white cloud and severe turbulence disoriented the pilots. A premature descent brought the plane tragically below the peaks. The right wing struck a mountain, shearing off with catastrophic force. The left wing followed moments later. The fuselage, now a toboggan of metal and human terror, careened down a frozen slope at over 200 miles per hour before finally slamming to a halt in a remote, unnamed valley. For the world, they had simply disappeared into the vast, unforgiving emptiness of the mountains. The search began. For 11 days, aircraft crisscrossed the snow-covered peaks, but from the air, the white wreckage was invisible against the endless white of the snow. The search was called off. The 45 passengers and crew were officially presumed dead, but they were not all dead. In the shattered remains of the plane, 27 survivors huddled together against the impossible cold. They were stranded at an altitude of nearly 12,000 feet in a world of ice and rock. The temperature plummeted to minus 40 degrees at night. They had almost no food, a few chocolate bars, some snack packets, and several bottles of wine, which they rationed meticulously. The initial days were a blur of pain, shock, and desperate hope. They used a small transistor radio to listen for news, their spirits soaring with every mention of the search efforts, and then crashing into despair when they heard the search had been abandoned. They were alone. The meager food supply ran out. Starvation began to set in, a slow, agonizing process that gnawed at their bodies and their minds. They tried to eat the cotton from the airplane seats, then the leather, but it was no use. Their bodies were wasting away. As if their ordeal was not horrific enough, the mountain had another trial in store for them. On the 17th day, as they slept fitfully inside the broken fuselage, a low rumble grew into a deafening roar. An avalanche, a tidal wave of snow and ice, descended upon their makeshift shelter, burying it completely. The space was filled with suffocating powder, plunging them into a terrifying, silent darkness. They clawed and fought for air, for space, for life itself. When the chaos subsided, 8 more of their friends were gone, taken from them in their sleep. The survivors were now entombed, trapped for 3 days in the darkness with the bodies of the newly deceased, before they could finally dig a tunnel to the surface. Their hope, already so fragile, was nearly extinguished. They were staring death in the face, and they knew it. It was in this moment of absolute desperation that the survivors were forced to confront an impossible choice. Looking at the bodies of their friends, preserved by the freezing cold, they knew there was only one source of sustenance left in this barren wasteland. The idea was unthinkable, a violation of one of humanity's most profound taboos. Yet, the alternative was certain death. The group, mostly devout Catholics, debated the morality of their situation with agonizing solemnity. Was it a sin? Or was it, as one survivor argued, a form of Holy Communion, their friends' bodies giving them the chance to live? Slowly, reluctantly, a pact was made. To survive, they would have to consume the flesh of the dead. It was a decision that would save their lives, but it would also become a source of intense debate and judgment around the world for decades to come. A stark testament to the lengths the human spirit will go to in the fight for life. Weeks turned into an agonizing 2 months. They knew no one was coming for them. Rescue would have to come from within. 2 of the strongest survivors, Nando Parado and Roberto Canessa, resolved to do the unthinkable, walk out of the mountains. With no mountaineering gear, no maps, and wearing only the clothes they had on, they began their trek. For 10 days, they climbed vertical ice walls, battled blinding snowstorms, and navigated treacherous terrain. Their bodies pushed to the absolute limit of human endurance. They took with them a small supply of the human flesh that was keeping the others alive, their only fuel for the impossible journey. Finally, after trekking nearly 60 miles through the frozen wilderness, they saw it. A green valley, and in it, a man on a horse. They had found civilization. The world was stunned. The boys who had been declared dead for over 2 months were alive. Helicopters were dispatched. and the remaining 14 survivors were rescued from the crash site after 72 days in hell. The initial euphoria of their miraculous survival, however, was quickly overshadowed by a shocking revelation. As the survivors began to tell the full story of their ordeal, the truth of how they stayed alive emerged. The news was met with a mixture of horror and fascination. Some condemned their actions, while others, including Pope Paul VI, offered compassion and understanding. They had been to the very edge of human experience and had returned with a story that challenged our definitions of morality, survival, and the unbreakable power of the human will to live. Theirs is not just a story of a plane crash. It is a profound lesson in the resilience of the human spirit when faced with the ultimate choice between life and death. If you were moved by this story of survival against all odds, subscribe to our channel for more incredible true stories of human endurance and the will to live.